Hey, welcome everyone to the inaugural edition of the Fuel the Fight podcast. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Nick Behringer, the Director of the Graduate Program in Nutrition, and I am here with the powerful Major Michelle Stone, our Internship Director at the Graduate Program in Nutrition. Lucky to have her here today. Major Stone, thanks for joining me. Could you tell the folks a little bit about yourself and what brought you into the military?
Sure. As Colonel Behringer mentioned, my name is Major Michelle Stone, and I joined the military actually in it's not 20, it's 2002, so almost coming up on my my 20-year mark. Joined right out of high school. I was 17. I was actually in the Air Force prior, so I was an aircraft mechanic, go A-10s, 15s, and 16s. So I was able to troubleshoot a little bit on those before crossing over. And during that time, just going for my community college of the Air Force, my CCAF, I took a Nutrition 101 course.
Nice.
Okay, this is nutrition. This is what vitamin A does. This is what vitamin B does. And something switched in my brain of, I can do this. Like this, you talk about food all day, that's actually a career. And so I just started looking for programs, and at that point I found the Graduate Program in Nutrition. Unfortunately, in 2006, when I found it, I had to get out. I had to go to school full-time, and I had to go to a nutrition-specific bachelor's degree. So I had to get that dietetic program at Dietetics, or that DPD verification statement, and then I was able to come back in for the Graduate Program in Nutrition. So the things that we're going to talk about today, if this were in existence X amount of years ago, I maybe...
You could have just, maybe come in.
Yeah,
but
instead of having to break that break of service. Yeah, so I am very excited on where this program is going and sort of excited to be within that historical change within our program starting next year.
No, definitely historical. I didn't know you were A10, worked on A10s. That's awesome. But now, so, fast forward, you went through, you became a dietitian. What do you do in the program now as the director? Kind of what's your day-to-day?
Sure. So currently I am the dietetic internship. So basically I direct all of the hospital-based training. So anything that is outside of the classroom, I rely on a lot of the site coordinators to execute that day-to-day mission, but ensure that everything that is learned in the book is actually executed within that professional practice. So the students are, upon graduation, they're ready to take their RD exam, and they're ready to execute as fully functional entry-level dietitians.
Nice. So, you mentioned a little bit about having to get that statement from a dietetic program. And so maybe we can go over the why of why are we going to this new program, this new future education model? Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Yeah,
so previously just Ascend in general, which is our accrediting body, the Accreditation Council for Education in Nutrition and Dietetics. So Ascend says that, prior to, you have to have a bachelor's in nutrition, you have to get this verification statement, and you have to have that verification statement in order to apply for a dietetic internship. The dietetic internship is mandated in order for you to sit for the RD exam. In 2024, Ascend is changing that. So as of January 2024, our accrediting body is mandated all dietitians to have master's degrees. So from an accreditation civilian standpoint, we want to keep on par with our civilian counterparts, making sure that we're leading from the front. From the military standpoint, H2F, the Holistic Health and Fitness, is sort of increasing our numbers within our ranks. So the Army has realized that dietitians are valuable, and we need to push them down into the units for that preventive action. So previously, dietitians, you would have to go to the hospital, you'd have to make an appointment, and you'd have to go through that whole experience of that. Now the Army is trying to go for that preventive aspect of getting it down where the soldiers are to prevent any bad habits or to prevent anything from getting you to the hospital, right? They want you to prevent you to go there.
Nice. More proactive.
Yeah,
right.
More proactive care. And then performance, right? So we always want to make sure that our athletes, or our warrior athletes, are performing optimal within any kind of battle that they may have to go in front of. So yeah, the accreditation is moving, the Army is moving. So that allowed us as TRADOC, as the Army program, to just move forward with that, to be able to do what we need to do here
Nice.
in San Antonio.
So the bottom line is, like, there was nothing wrong with the legacy program or the way we did it before.
Mm-hmm.
It's more we're moving to this future model to both keep track of accreditation, kind of keep ahead of that curve, and then that's going to open up our talent pool, right? So before we could only get folks who had a nutrition degree.
Mm-hmm.
So now who can come into the program?
Pretty much anyone who has the undergraduate degree of unspecified, right? So we don't really care what your undergrad degree is, but we do have specific prerequisites. And then you also obviously have to meet the mandates to become a commissioned officer. So those are some key points there.
So they'll have their mandated, classes they have to meet, but outside of that, any degree is open to apply.
Correct. All right. So
Okay.
you no longer have to have a nutrition dietetics degree in order to apply. So again, just jokingly, coming from a maintenance world, you don't have to, you can have an underwater basket weaving degree. And then as long as you get your 27 credits, then you're able to sort of execute from there.
So if somebody's sitting on the edge of their seat right now, when you're listening to this or hearing this, a soldier out there like, hey, I need to get into the nutrition program. I want to be a dietitian in the Army because it is awesome. What's the timeline look like for this year? It's going to be kind of abbreviated, so I wanted to get that out there right away.
Yeah, perfect. So November, we actually got approval from Ascend. So this is all brand new territory. So November 2021, we got approval to go ahead with this future education model. So that doesn't give us a whole lot of time to recruit for this next class, but we're still trying. February 10th is the deadline for all applicants to go ahead and get that in. And the board will meet in March of 2022. Not sure exactly how long that board is or how long it will take, but most likely you'll get your results like maybe at the end of March, early April. So that you can go ahead and start, hey, congratulations, you got into our program. And then you have around maybe 24, 48 hours to reply and say, yes, I still want to do this. I approve. And we start with HRC and get you orders to come down to San Antonio. San Antonio usually arrives around August, September timeframe. And then it all depends on if you're prior enlisted. So prior enlisted, prior service, you might not come around that time depending on if you have to go to officer basic or any of those types of things prior to the program actually starting.
So the bottom line is, for folks who want to take advantage this year of the new program, they need to get on it. They need to be reaching out to their healthcare recruiter time now.
Yes.
Okay.
So no prior service, definitely jumping on the bandwagon. A lot of things that might take a lot of time are your security clearance and then your healthcare type things. Make sure that you're medically able to join the military. And then also GREs. So some people have to take GREs 1 or 2 times to meet the minimums. So if you take one, have time to take it again. GRE mandates around 21 days. So if you take it, you have to wait 21 days to reattempt the test.
Oh, that's good to know. So yeah. Now, let's say, we get these people in, they apply, get into the program. I'm sure somebody out there is thinking, well, what's a day in the life of a dietitian look like? Like what's kind of going to be my day today? Maybe if you could talk it through from the student aspect, from being a student in the program, and then once they're a student, going out into the force, being a dietitian.
Sure. So our program is 24 months. So you will be in student status for 2 years, going through the didactic portion and then the hospital-based training portion. So a huge change within the program is that it is competency-focused education. So you'll do a little bit of reading. So for example, you'll read about diabetes, right? You'll learn about it, the interventions, how to execute, how to maybe do some patient play with a patient with diabetes. And then you'll go down to BAMC and actually execute that knowledge all within that same semester.
Wow.
So hopefully the learning curve is a lot shorter because you're able to execute and apply it.
That's great. Thinking back to when I did it, it was just the internship. So, all the stuff I learned in college, it was months to almost a year, and then you're trying to remember, okay, what did I learn in class? So you're saying you're going to get that stuff in class, and then you're going to be able to go apply it right away. So really kind of seal that in.
Yeah, so you're frantically not looking through your notes and
Right.
like, oh wait, what chapter was that on?
Yeah.
Hopefully someone has a copy of that PowerPoint that Colonel Behringer taught me about, performance nutrition a few years ago. And now I'm going to, oh crap, I have to apply it now.
Right.
Versus now it's almost going to be, week to week. I'm going to learn about it and I'm going to hone in on those skills and execute it. And then, going back and forth over the 24 months.
Very nice.
So that's the day in the life of a student for the first 2 years. And then your additional service obligation is 4 years after that. So a total of 6 years committed to this program. But for the 4 years post-graduation, typical jobs include holistic health and fitness dietitian. So going down to the units, being involved in that preventive care like we talked about earlier. We still have medical treatment facility missions, so you could be at a MedAC or a MedCen, so a larger or smaller medical facility, food service, inpatient, outpatient, health promotion. All of those are sort of some key entry-level dietitian positions within the military.
Nice. And I do want to go back to, that 6 years. Now, that might sound like a lot to a college student there, but I think you could attest as well as I do. It goes fast. I'm looking at 18 and, it went by that. So don't be scared of that 6 years. It goes by pretty fast. And two of it, you're going through school. So you're getting that education. And maybe we should circle back and say, where do you get that degree from? Baylor University, the Big 12 champs, I think they just, won that game. So you get that degree from Baylor, and you're getting paid the whole time you're getting that degree, if I'm correct.
Yes, huge plug for me anyways, right? It's free and I get paid to go to school. So I'm not incurring debt. Oh, and by the way, I'm also getting a paycheck and accruing time in service. So you are active duty, going to school, you have your backpack and you arrive at the Medical Center of Excellence or your hospital-based training, again, depending on what your day is. But that's your duty, is to learn and to become a dietitian.
That's pretty nice, especially, for those of us who might remember being that starving college student trying to work and go to school at the same time. So what's the average class size of the program? What does that look like?
So right now our class size is up to 15, no less than 10. So 10 to 15. So that puts you at around a faculty to student ratio, like a 1 to 3.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I challenge anybody to find a ratio like that out in other sectors. That's pretty tight. What about one of the questions that we get a lot of times for an individual who maybe has a family? Can they bring their family to San Antonio while they're going through this program?
Absolutely. So if you're a direct accession, just coming off of the streets, or if you're prior service, the military will pay for you to come down to San Antonio. And if you have to go to the officer basic, all of that is in San Antonio as well. So typically, again, in August, you and your family will move to San Antonio. You'll find a house, whether it be on post or off post, do your professional military education, and then you'll start the program. So total time in San Antonio is a little less than 2.5 years if you have to complete all of your PME, which is your professional military education, and then your program specific requirements.
So not too bad. And San Antonio is not a bad place to spend 2.5 years in school, is it?
No. And another great thing is that you're not a candidate. You are a second lieutenant, so you're able to get time in service and time in rank while you're in the program. So a lot of our students actually receive first lieutenant when they're in their second year.
So getting promoted for being a student, that's also a pretty nice plug. What about for some of the prereqs? So particularly, maybe for our current folks in service looking at this, can they use their tuition assistance for the prereqs they need to get into the program?
Yeah, so you actually just signed a letter, sir, saying that...
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
I read every document I sign, I'll have you know. But yeah,
Yeah, so tuition assistance can be used by our currently serving soldiers, even if you have an undergrad degree. So a lot of times tuition assistance, if you already have a bachelor's degree, they won't pay for an additional bachelor's degree. Or if you have a master's degree, they won't pay for an additional master's degree. However, because this program is very specific, if they have an undergrad degree but it does not have the prerequisite courses, that memorandum, you can take that to your TA and say, hey, this is my course of action. This is my career plan or degree plan, whatever. I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on that. And it will lay out the prerequisites, the 27 hours that is mandated, and that will be your degree or career plan that they need in order for you to start checking off those prereqs.
Nice. So you can use that. You can use that tuition assistance to go ahead and get what you need to get done to get into the program. So again, if folks want to learn more about the program, who should they reach out to?
So they can reach out to our program specifically, but every single packet needs to go through USAREC or the recruiting command. So either one, you can go to the Army-Baylor website or the healthcare recruiter website, and both of those will give you the information that you want. If you contact the Graduate Program in Nutrition directly, we'll be able to facilitate more program specific questions. But if you are looking at, hey, can I even apply to be an officer in the military, then USAREC or the recruiting command would be a better place to start.
Okay, so if questions about just coming in, being an officer in the military, USAREC, but any questions programmatically specific, they can go to that Baylor website, which we'll list on here on this video. We'll have it on there so they can click on that and go, and it has our email where they can reach out and contact us, along with the prerequisites. We'll be putting those up there as well. Is there anything else you want to let the potential candidates out there know who may be watching this?
Just that I may be a little biased. I went through the program, I work at the program, but honestly, I think that this is the best program in the dietetic world. Just because if you think about it, we train our soldiers, we train our students because we know that one day we're going to be working with them. We're going to be supervising them. So we want to set those training expectations and give them all of our knowledge that we could potentially do, because they're going to replace us one day. We take this uniform off 20 years, 30 years, or 4 years, post graduation. But we know that we're ultimately, responsible for them, and having that good relationship of just knowing that we're going to work with them one day. So I think that just takes that step above on the cadre members or the instructors, because we want to make them the best that we know that they can do.
No, that's a great point. That your average, not taking anything away from any college professors, but those students aren't going to turn around and work for them, right away. Where we have that scenario. So again, it behooves us to prepare them the best we can to go out there and serve the soldiers. Major Stone, thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge today. I really appreciate it, and being the first guest on the inaugural episode of Fuel the Fight podcast. If you're out there and you're wondering, should I be a dietitian? Go ahead, send us an email, send us your questions, reach out to USAREC, reach out to a recruiter. I can tell you, there's nothing that's been more fun or fulfilling than serving as a dietitian in the military. So if you're even on the fence about it, at least shoot an email, try to find out some more information. If you have any questions or have any comments about the podcast, you can also send that to us as well if there's any topics you want to hear. But with all that being said, thank you for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you next time.